Hey everyone, it's Kevin DeWalda of ProLego. I have to apologize, I'm fighting a bit of a cold here, so the voice is a bit raspy, so please bear with me. I often talk about this idea of Enterprise AGI, which I define as a system that's able to automate at least 50% of valuable human labor inside of a business. Well, of course, the idea for Enterprise AGI is all driven by the innovations around GPT-4 and the reasoning capabilities it has. What's interesting is that the emerging technology stack that's going to support AGI is starting to come into focus. And today I want to talk about one of the early players in that stack called LlamaIndex. The best way I can describe LlamaIndex is that it's trying to become an interface between your large language models and your data. This is easiest to describe with some examples of when you would and would not need it. So let's describe a situation where you don't need a tool like LlamaIndex. Suppose that you want to build a Q&A chat interface with a large document or like your blog. To develop this kind of solution, most people will take the set of the documents, split them up into a bit of chunks, and then send the question and the most relevant chunks of the document into the prompt of the GPT-4 so that it can do reasoning and have some context. And this is done through a technique called embeddings. And there are straightforward data science techniques for doing this that are fairly, that you can just do without relying on complicated tools. But imagine for a second that you want to do something a little more complex, and you want to take a set of documents and you want to give users the option to ask questions of them or do some sort of summarization technique that doesn't rely on embeddings. In this case, you've added a layer of complexity because you have two different ways that a user could interface with the same piece of data. Imagine if you make it even more complex and you consider that a user wants to run some sort of reasoning over multiple different pieces of data. They want to use a large language model to ask a question or try to discover something across a structured database, a graph database, a PDF, some images, documents, a web search, lots of different potential areas of data. Suddenly that starts to become really hard. And that's the problem that LlamaIndex is trying to solve. It's trying to build an interface that allows you to build metadata on top of a bunch of different data sources so that you can run queries against them. It's really hard to overstate the implications of this type of architecture if it is successful and starts to become popular. One of the biggest challenges and most expensive parts of doing analytics or machine learning inside of an enterprise is the cost of doing all of the lower level data processing and prep necessary to do analytics. And so you have the data ingestion and ETL tools and on and on and on to be able to get something to the form that you can actually do analytics and data process and do machine learning at scale. Well, these new approaches and this new tech stack with large language models allows you to take a more top-down approach. And it's all because GPT-4 is able to do reasoning across documents and to provide insight and to discover information in the data that users want, even if the data is kind of messy. So you can take a document that's got HTML tags and an image and maybe a PDF that's in unstructured text, and GPT-4 has the ability to do reasoning analysis across multiple different document types. So there's opportunities for really, I guess the best way I would say it is to simplify the data stack inside the environment and allow you to unlock the valuable opportunities with your user base a lot faster. Now, does this mean that we're suddenly going to be in, sunshine and rainbows and all the different data stylos and data headaches we've all been fighting for decades are going to go away? Of course not. It doesn't mean any of that. Like, there's still going to be problems, and there are a lot of things to address. And large language models are in the infancy. We've got cost, latency issues. And when you talk about building these complex systems and chaining different large language models together, suddenly you have the opportunity to introduce errors that are difficult to trace and can propagate. So we have no shortage of challenges here. However, the potential ROI of being able to begin solving business problems and help doing more complex analysis across lots of different data for users much faster and much cheaper than the traditional methods is so attractive that if these type of tools and stack are successful at realizing value, I think they're going to become very popular. So take care. Hope it helps.